Hi, everyone.
Welcome. Episode, can you believe it, 30 of Checked Out Podcast, Checked Out Retail Stories Podcast. I'm Ryan. He's Doug. We're very excited to be with you again, and we thank you for all the support that you've given us in the first 30 episodes. Unbelievable. And we can't forget to thank the people that make it all possible. Our great sponsors at paskillalliance.org, helping small businesses, helping keeping Main Street lights on throughout the Commonwealth and all the counties in the Commonwealth by helping support small businesses and fraternal organizations. Go to www.paskillalliance.org for more information.
And remember, guys, it is skill, not luck, baby. Super excited, guys. Guys, we're the only show hosted. My dog is losing control today, but we're the only show hosted by independent grocers where the stories actually come from the stores that we work in every single day.
Man, this is actually really funny. This is a funny.
What is my dog doing?
Hope. So Hope, Doug's dog Hope. Little side note here, a side story. Our Mike's having some mic problems, but so Hope, Doug's dog, has had a recent loss in the family. Faith, we talked about it before. Her friend in arms forever, and now ever since Faith passed, I've noticed this. Hope has joined us for the cast. She's been very close to us. Very close to us for the cast.
Well, now she's like literally on the table.
Yeah.
Funny. But yeah, no, so we're excited that we have a great show planned for you guys this week. We're pulling back the crazy curtains of the retail business and going through all of our favorite segments. Ryan, tell them about the one that you like the most.
The segment I like the most is always retail history. But the nice thing is you have incorporated in all the segments some retail history. So now in every segment that we do, all the products we talk about, which again, you know, it's episode 30. We're not sponsored in any of this, but you've developed a way to like connect retail history to every single segment. So it's really cool. We've eliminated my favorite segment, but at the same time, my favorite segment is a part of all the segments.
And as a bonus corporate word of the week, we sunsetted this week in retail history and replaced it with, well, just history in every segment. But I'm excited that, Ryan, we have a great stereotype this week. We have a great buzzword. You know, I feel like it's like we're starting to Dewey Decimalize our corporate history and corporate jargon with the corporate buzzword segment of each week. And this week's going to be a real banger with talking about moving the needle.
Moving the needle, but also talk about moving the needle. Somebody has been moving the needle for a long time in Butler County, which we're in Butler County right now. And the largest, the craziest, the best show in Western Pennsylvania this time of year is the Big Butler Fair.
It's a 170-year tradition that you don't want to miss. And talking about all the crazy things, I mean, they have everything from demolition derby to tractor pulling to midway to rides to shows to animals. I mean, they have it all, and I can't wait to talk to them. And then we talk a little bit about what's in Ryan's grocery bag. I don't want to give it away, but it has a nice little crisp sound to it when you crack it open. It's pretty cool.
What would you do? Wait, no, that's wrong. Nobody's going to be able to guess it off that because that was the wrong company. Right, the right beginning letter of, but wrong company.
That's so funny you did it that way. But guys, so pull up a card, get ready. We're about to get into it. Ryan, let's crack into this week's Checked Out episode.
What's happening this week? Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a week. I mean, we could go through rapid fire and it'll probably still take 5 minutes, but we're going to try to make this quick, but we're going to try to give you everything that's happened. In the last week, man, it started with, of course, we've talked about Doug and I's annual brotherly retreat, which if you watched episode 28, John Thompson and his family, they do a male retreat every year, have done it since the 60s. It's a great way to get away and kind of reconnect in a way that's not like all this and all the grocery stores and all the chaos. And we had a great time, obviously. But right before we left, we were in a meeting, and I was on the call as I was driving, I think to your house for a podcast. But I was driving, and my driving, I try, but sometimes it's just a little distracted, unfortunately. But so I'm driving, and I go around this turn on 422. I mean, it's 4-lane, but it's not super fast, thankfully. But I'm going around this turn. All of a sudden, I come around the turn, and I see a cop car with his lights on the side of the road. Now, I have a truck here and a truck here. So I'm jammed up over here. Normally, obviously, you see the cop with his lights on. You get over, give him space. There's some kind of a situation going on. I pull over. I mean, I try to get over, but I see there's trucks there, so I can't get over. So I'm stuck there. So I almost, not almost clipped, but it was close, uncomfortably close. I come to this cop car, get past the cop car, and now there's a state cop, serious state cop too, man. One of the real tall ones. Not one of the guys that just made the specs. I'm talking this guy could have played linebacker for Ohio State. He's standing towards me, semi-defensive position, with his pistol drawn. I'm not even kidding, man. You can't make this up. So I roll around the corner. I should have pulled over, but I, didn't realize it in time. There was trucks. So I come around the corner, and all of a sudden, I'm face to face with a very intimidating state cop with his gun drawn. And you can't put your hands up there and take them off the wheel. So I just slow down, and give him like this, blaming it on the truck next to me. Well, here, I realized why his gun's drawn. Unfortunately, there was a distressed deer that obviously got hit. So then, this is the nightmare for me. Like, all of a sudden now, I see this, and I go from, okay, he's not going to shoot me, to I unfortunately saw the final, seconds of the deer's life. But it was a mercy kill. I mean, the deer was hurt. But think about it. Like, you're rolling down the road on a nice drive in the country on 422, and all of a sudden, cop car, that's alarming. Now you get past the cop car in a way that's not good. That's alarming. Then you see the cop looking at you with the drawn gun. That's alarming. Then you watch an execution. It's a crazy start to the trip. It was right before our trip.
Oh no, it was definitely foreshadowing our poker success. After we get on the plane, it was and that's just crazy. It's crazy that that still happens, but who else is gonna do it? It's either them or the game commission, and you don't want the deer to suffer. So
no, did the right thing.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about from my perspective. It was a lot to take in a very short amount of time. Coming off of what was, for the last 15 minutes, a very nice, calm drive through Western Pennsylvania. Beautiful day. And all of a sudden, boom.
Deer Gestapo.
Yeah. Remember the thrill of your first childhood game, maybe tic-tac-toe? Genuine Pennsylvania skill games recaptures that excitement, offering easy-to-play, win-every-time experiences at your favorite local spots. Imagine a game where a little skill consistently turns credits into cash prizes. A game you can enjoy with others and even help them win. No need to just imagine. Genuine Pennsylvania skill games, championed by the PA Skill Alliance, are real. Go to paskillalliance.org for more information. This week's retail stereotype. Internal GPS guru. The legend of aisle 7.
Guys, super exciting. So, Ryan, we talk a lot about digital tags, about computers, POS systems, AI, and everything that's associated with the modern technology of running retail establishments. But there's still that human intelligence that goes back, that internal memory bank of our friends at the Eternal GPS Guru guy. They know where everything is.
No, they have a physical layout of the store. I know exactly who you're talking about, man. I mean, you talk to them, they have the layout of the store in their brain. And I'll tell you what, if somebody comes in and cuts in a new item or resets any situation, they're the first ones coming to you.
Oh, yeah. And that's actually interesting this week because we usually talk about customers. This week it's about the employees and crew members that are like this. So, yeah, so I can see it now. Bob's down there in aisle 5, and he's working on some kind of he could be there soldering a computer chip, and he'd be there. Customer comes up to the left, and they say, hey, do you know where molasses light is? And he's like, aisle 5, halfway down. If you take 10 steps, you went too far. 9 steps, look to your left. It's on the second to the top shelf, right beside the maple syrup.
Yeah, I mean, and they can tell you where the canned quailed eggs are. I mean, they can tell you it's in aisle 2, right between this and this. I mean, it's amazing, but there's a lot of them, and actually, it's kind of cool that they're that interested and involved in the store. But at the same time, man, it is definitely a stereotype because that person, they look for any opportunity to kind of show off their knowledge.
It's a quiet flex, and it's amazing that it goes back so far. So the original Piggly Wiggly Piggly Wiggly, 1916. Clarence Saunders created the first modern grocery store, which created this ability. So back then, before 1916, it was an old-fashioned grocery store. You had to go up, give the guy or girl your list. You'd sit on the bench, and they go shop the entire list. It was crazy as far as time commitment and labor.
Yeah, and before that, I mean, you went in and you gave the person at the counter your list. You know, oftentimes it was a 15 or I guess 16-year-old person that really didn't know how to shop for groceries. You gave them your list, and they went and shopped it all, brought it up, and everything, rung it up, gave it to you. I mean, you could have enough time to get your hair done, you know, go for shopping, go to a movie. Still might not be done, and even then, it's not done to your specs.
Right, and the thing about the retail theft that you save because nobody's really touching the product directly until they paid for it. The crazy thing was, Saunders created this opportunity where the store itself was a maze. So you started at one end, the aisle went to the next aisle, next aisle, next aisle, next aisle, and then perishables at the end. So there was no way for you to go right to the item. You actually had to go through the perimeter first and then the whole store to get to the front. So it created this maze-like atmosphere, and it was insane. So back then, especially, it was a big deal for people to know exactly where things were because it saved time getting to the item.
You know, and talk about a hostage situation, man. He's got you trapped in this maze, and you're walking around this maze, and you're trying to figure stuff out. But the genius of it, as we all know, the more time somebody spends in your store, the more they're going to buy, and the more you're going to sell them. And the higher your sales is going to be, the more money you're going to make. So it was a genius idea. And it's funny, it's happening. It's kind of happening again now. Because I was just in Lowe's Foods down south, in North Carolina.
America's best food distributor.
Yeah, they share a warehouse. Actually, they kind of co-own the warehouse that we buy from. But I was in the stores, and their new layouts are diagonal aisles. Not all the aisles, but a large portion of the interior aisles are in a diagonal spot. It's kind of like the Saxburg store, kind of like how they have like the cuts. Like it's not full aisles anymore, like 85,000 yards. It's cuts, but in between the cuts, the actual aisles are a maze. So it keeps you in the store longer, and you're gonna buy more. But at the same time, you don't mind it because visually it's nice. You don't feel collapsed, and it feels like you're kind of like hidden. It's like it's a neat feeling.
You never actually hit a right angle. What they do, guys, is imagine like there's a straight up aisle, like your normal up and down aisle, and at the end it makes a V. So it always pushes you left or right. It never pushes you straight. So you never have to make a decision. You just kind of go with the natural flow of the aisle. It's very cool how they do that, and it's actually started in Europe. Is when they started that like style, and they brought it back here to test it. Are you talking about the one down in Hickory?
Yeah,
that's one of the original ones that have that like style of aisles.
Yeah, it's really neat as a customer and as somebody obviously that owns a grocery store shopping another store. It was really neat, and like I said, visually and flow wise, it didn't affect anything, but it was just kind of cool. It was like, oh, this is different. It gave it a neat look.
Oh no, it's really cool, but it's funny. We talk about like this whole idea of this guru that knows exactly where everyone's in the store. Customers have started taking this on. And so when you ever do a reset, especially a major reset, when we did that Leechburg one, I had so many people come to me and say, where's the tartar? Where's the cream of tartar? I've had the tartar here for 15 years. Where did you move it? Where are you hiding the tartar? And it was literally like 2 hours over, but just because of the modernizing the flow of goods, we move it and the customer notices it.
No, and the internal GPS guru, I mean, they are basically the service animal, the emotional support animal for fellow customers, even some of the employees during transitional periods like resets and rearrangements of any kind, new cases. They kind of keep everybody like there's like a sense of calm because this guy's around right now. He can tell us where everything is. He can kind of keep law and order around until everybody gets reaccustomed, which usually takes about a month before all your customers kind of get reacclimated to where things are and everything like that. You kind of get the flack for a month, and then all of a sudden, then they notice, oh, well, that's nice that that's by that, or that's nice that that's by that, or that's nice that I don't have to. Yeah, I know. Like that was the idea, was make the customer happy. But I mean, let's face it, we're all creatures of habit. We don't like change. So whenever there's change, even if it's good for us, we don't necessarily, jump on board right away.
It's the modern retail therapist. But Ryan, tell me a little about the this week's origin story. Here it's about Dad and the big game at Uncle Junior's.
Well, we just went to Las Vegas. We played in the World Series of Poker, our annual brothers trip, which we discussed in a previous episode. And actually, we have more stories that could fit into one situation. So over the course of the next few weeks, we're going to be trickling in our observances while in Las Vegas, if you can imagine what that could be. But our family's played poker forever. I mean, we came from a group of horse traders and electrical union members, and they all like to play poker. They all like to play cards, different variations, whether it be 2-card guts, whether it be at the time 5-card stud, 5-card draw. I mean, just everybody played poker growing up, and especially our horse trading grandfather, Charles Sprankle, Dad's dad, and Uncle Junior, his brother. They had a weekly game before a lot of people had weekly games, and it was the big game. I mean, it was, because they were playing, they brought $50 to $100 to that game. Everybody did. And think about it. This is like 80s, 90s. And this is like, blue collar guys. I mean, they don't have a ton of cash. So like, that was a lot of money. There was actually uncomfortable amounts of money. The women I'd hear them, because I was little. You were just growing up, but they would complain about how much money was being distributed amongst this table. So anyways, Dad and I were coming home one day from one of the stores. I was 17, 18, and I said, hey, the big game, let's go play the big game. So Dad's like, okay, let's play the big game. And so he normally didn't. It was the first time he ever said yes. I had asked him like 20 times. He finally said yes. We went and played in the game. It was a great night. And unfortunately, like literally a couple weeks later is when Uncle Junior and Aunt Shirley were in that horrific car accident while trading antiques down in Maryland. But so fortunate, I feel so fortunate that we had that time with the whole family together, with Uncle Junior there, Aunt Shirley was around, to have that time before that happened. I think it was like an omen. Dad somehow, was implanted to say yes. He didn't know, obviously, it was going to happen, but it was nice that, the timing of being able to spend that time before that happened was crazy, because Uncle Junior and Aunt Shirley were only like mid-50s.
Oh, yeah, and their antique place is now the butcher shop.
That's right.
Right across the street there.
That's right. Right across from the old homestead.
Yeah.
That was the antique. That's right. They knocked down the old barn and built the antique shop, and then they transferred it. Oh, that's right. Yeah, but that was a good memory for me. I mean, because I'd always wanted to play in it. I was always too young. I think I was 17, 18, so I was just, old enough, and, I had the opportunity to play in the big game before. And then, of course, Uncle Junior was the guy that organized it. So when he passed, it just kind of went by.
So there's no more game anymore?
I don't believe so, unless somebody else started to back up. But it was a tradition. It was like a family rite of passage that, when you reached a certain age, they, whether they thought or you were around 18.
And you had a good job.
Or just enough money to sit down. I think I sat down that night with $20, so I had to play pretty conservatively. I remember, though, I won that night. I won like $10. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I won. I won at the big game. But, yeah, so, that's the story. I mean, you're a young lad. I don't know what you were doing at the time. But
Well, if you were 17, I was 11.
Yeah, you were just like,
I was living my life.
Yeah, you were probably grinding out whatever game you rented for the weekend at GameStop. Was GameStop a thing?
Oh, bro.
That wasn't even on yet.
No, we went to
Blockbuster?
No, we had Giant. Giant had a movie store.
Oh.
And then we also went to there was that place in town that had it was like a knockoff, it was like an independent movie rental place. But they rented PlayStations. Remember, we didn't have a PlayStation. I rented a PlayStation and the game.
That's right.
It was crazy.
So that was the progression then. It went from what to what to what to what?
Well, Blockbuster was a national brand. But then after Blockbuster, it went to Netflix because you rent games off Netflix.
The boxes.
The boxes.
Okay.
And then once that was cooked, now it's just digital, and you just buy the game. There's no rental.
You just get on and buy.
Here's $100.
Okay.
Like Grand Theft Auto, in perspective, it comes out this year. $2 billion to develop that game with a B. $2 billion. That's what they're expecting to be the largest launch of a game ever in November. Grand Theft Auto 6, I think it is. It literally should gross $5 to $6 billion.
I mean, that's just unbelievable. But I mean, this will also show my age and how long I've been out of the gaming. I'm just going to put it out there, But so you don't, just to correct me, you don't need to have like a separate unit now, right? I mean, this shows how old I am. Like or how out of touch I am with this portion of the world. Like you don't have to have like a PlayStation or a Xbox now, right?
Well, you still can, but they have games now where you can just you can play Netflix games on Netflix off your TV.
Okay.
On your phone.
So everything's just totally downloadable now. You don't have to have a bunch of apparatus. Like some guy staying at his aunt's for the weekend isn't carrying his Xbox and games and all this stuff like we used to have to do.
No.
They're just rolling into aunts. Hey, aunt,
And most people have more TVs.
What's your Wi-Fi password?
Right.
Is that the only conversation?
That's cooked. You're good. Yeah. And most aunts now, crazy. Most situations now, you don't even need a TV because they have the TVs there. And you can broadcast remotely without even having cables under the TV.
Witchcraft. Well, hopefully I'm not the only one that's out. Hopefully you're not all out there being like, oh my God, that guy, where's he been under a rock for the last 20 years?
I can tell you where he's from.
Hopefully there's
Fire County.
Hopefully there's some people with me out there. Oh, geez. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Times changed.
This week's corporate word of the week. Move the needle.
Let me guess, Ryan. You spent a lot of time talking to Brand, picking her brain of all the crazy words she hears inside the corporate room.
You know what I did? And this week, it's move the needle.
What an offender. It's funny. I think about executives speak, and they're like, hey guys, last quarter's P&Ls, they were a little off, but I think we're going to try to move the needle this quarter and get some better profitability.
Yeah, and most of the time they don't know how to do it, but they're still saying, let's move the needle.
But Ryan, if you actually happen to ask your boss, you're like, hey, what does move the needle mean? What do you think?
I just think it means they're just saying, hey, we got to get more money. We got to get moving forward. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's how I would look at it. Let's move the needle. Let's get more money.
And it's crazy the origin of the story, Move the Needle. Move the Needle actually came from the physical. So if you think about the initiation process of the original record player, you had to pick up the needle and drop it into the channel and get this record to spin. It literally was moving the needle to initiate a process.
Yeah, and let's look at the history, because needles have been keeping track of human progress for a long time. The phrase actually didn't start in business office at all. It comes from early 20th century and has a double origin. Think vinyl records.
You also think about the pilots, right? The planes. You think about the gauges and the plane moving. If the gauge is moving, if the needle is moving, that means the plane is still running. The engine's going pretty good. They have fuel, and things are going to happen in a great direction. So it's aviation mixed with the early records.
Yeah, and if you didn't like a song, you're listening to early records, you didn't like a song, you just move the needle forward and move forward.
Which is crazy, because they think, how do you take something so technical and mechanical and think, I'm going to use that to explain a 2% lift in this week's sales?
Yeah, it seems a little much.
So, as independent grocers, it's funny, we always talk about what is the, phrases we can use in our world. And I don't think we have enough time to develop the explanation for Move the Needle to explain how we're going to, adjust our scheduling so that we can get 2% more gross profit at a department by decreasing labor.
Well, that's the nice thing, We keep looking at these corporate words, and corporate is efficient, and we are not efficient in some ways. So what you just said and what I just said, which took us about probably 2 minutes, say move the needle, you're done.
That's true, Ryan. Way to move the needle.
Corporate executives love it because it's vague. They have no accountability. They just say, let's move the needle. They don't know how to do it, but they just think somebody else will. It makes them sound good, so they say, let's move the needle, and they move the needle.
And guys, with that, we're super excited. We're about to have our friend from the local Big Butler Fair, Clint Cehily.
PA skill players seek genuine PA skill games. How can you tell the real from the imitation? The PA Skill Alliance offers a 4-step identification process to help you find genuine PA skill games. 1. Check for logos. Does the machine display official Pennsylvania skill game logos? 2. Look for Powered by Pacematic. Is it powered by Pace-O-Matic, visible on the game's casing? 3. Assess business reputation. Is the game a reputable business? Genuine PA skill games were not intended to be standalone businesses. 4. Examine game style. Is it a tic-tac-toe style game that offers the option to win every time? Help combat fraudulent skill games by exclusively playing genuine PA Skill Alliance supported games. Discover more at paskillalliance.org.
On this podcast, we love to pull back the curtain of independent operators, families, organizations that serve the heartbeat of our local communities. But honestly, nothing captures that spirit more than the local county fair, the big county fair. And like ours in Butler County, we're right here today with Clint Cehily, talk about the great Butler County Fair.
Yeah, you know, everybody in Western PA, Central PA, all of PA, really. I mean, you have childhood memories. You have memories of taking your family. I mean, I just went to the Butler Fair with my family. And you know, it's just such a great, you remember those moments. You walk through the gates, you know, you're surrounded by all this action, all these people, all these games you can play, you know, in Big Butler Fair case, concerts. I mean, all these things just hit you and they form lifelong entrenched memories.
Guys, and today we're super excited. We're here with the man himself to talk about everything Big Butler Fair has to offer. Welcome to the show, Clint.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
So,
Yeah.
Clint, for those people out there, you know, walk them through what you do, not just at the day of the event, but the year round, and kind of like what your strategy is to bring all that magic back to Butler.
The planning of the fair is a year-long process. We're 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks away from the event now, but I'm already working on 2027's entertainment lineup. So it's a year-round event for 9 days of the gates being open for 9 days.
I don't know about you. I mean, you're the vice president. I mean, you shoulder a lot of the load. I mean, you know, we know how that goes. You know, myself, I was on the Armstrong Folk Festival board for a few years, and you know, I was in charge of the food, and I know how much went into that. And I mean, you know, that's Armstrong County's, you know, arguably, I think it is the biggest event, but it just, you know, it's the next level is the Big Butler Fair, man. And so I know what went into planning that and what goes into planning. It's interesting to hear that you're a year out with the entertainment.
Yep.
Really, a year and a half, right?
Yeah, a year and a half. Even some of the people you want to bring to the fair for entertainment's 2 years out. So it's all a scheduling game on knowing your dates and everyone else's availabilities.
So, Clint, you know, you've been with the fair for how long?
I've been a director for probably a little over 10 years and vice president for 4.
And so you've seen every aspect, including one of my favorite parts about the Big Butler Fair is the agricultural experience and the youth initiatives. You know, going through that, have you seen, you know, basically the same families do it every year? Are you seeing more younger farmers, you know, leaning into that homesteading kind of experience and being a part of the fair?
Both. We have a lot of the new homesteaders trying out. Their kids are getting involved with the animals, and also the generational farmers. Now you have kids bringing their kids up now, 3rd, 4th generation. It's been 170 years, so there could be several generations shown at one fair.
Now, let me ask you this. Obviously, you showed in 4-H. You showed as a kid. I mean,
Yes.
Have you noticed, you know, is there like a dramatic difference as far as the technology used, all that kind of stuff? Is it like every other business, so to speak, in the world where like you look at what these kids are doing now and what they're using to be able to produce and you know, grow the animals and foster what they're fostering? I mean, are you looking at it and saying, wow, that's just wild. I wish I'd have had that.
I mean, I'm not a farmer, but seeing what's going on there at just the fair level, the technology's come a long way in the 20 years since I've been out of FFA.
Now, with your involvement, have you seen, you know, I know you guys, I think I saw somewhere about you guys are tripling the prize payouts. Is that true?
The premiums, yes. We get reimbursed certain dollars from the state, but we want to give back to the local farmers and then Butler and the surrounding counties, and we have tripled some of our payouts for the our animals.
That's amazing. Now, are you seeing this being more incentive for locals, or are you starting to see some of these like national people come from like New York, Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia? Are you seeing more influx of those like other state people, or is it only for the Butler County?
We're not. To my knowledge, I don't think we have any animals coming from out of state, but we do have more than Butler County. We have Venango, Beaver, Lawrence, and even Armstrong counties coming in with animals. So we're in the several counties area, but not out of state to my knowledge.
It might change this year with the podcast.
It might,
Who
yeah.
knows? Who knows? Hopefully hopefully, we just said our corporate word of the week. Hopefully it moves the needle a little bit.
Yeah.
But from a budget perspective, I mean, obviously you guys have to decide where you're going to put the capital into as far as, advertising, getting the word out. You're going to have people that have just been coming for years, and their families and multiple generations have come, and they just have their calendars marked. But obviously, just like in the grocery business, the growth comes from, recruiting those new people. So when you're setting your budget, like how much of the budget and how much do you focus on? Okay, we want to get, Joe Smith living in, Slippery Rock that has no ties to a farm to come versus like trying to recruit and get other like people in the agriculture industry to come, like, or is it both?
It's both. I mean, the people that lived in Butler County for 20 years knows it's always over the 4th of July, and we'll go from there. But advertising, it's some of the hardest money you spend, because some of it you don't know where you're getting returns at, and what your return is. It's hard to quantify your advertising dollar on some of the media. But I mean, some of this online stuff gives you such feedback, like Meta Business and whatnot now, to see the hits and your popular hours of post when your people are reading on your Facebook page. It says to post at 7 p.m. on Thursday night. 20 years ago, you had no idea what was going on at 7 o'clock on Facebook. Now it tells you. So that's pretty wild there.
So that's interesting. So, you mentioned Facebook. So are you noticing Facebook is kind of the sweet spot, or are you guys doing a little bit of TikTok, a little bit of Instagram, or just strictly Facebook?
I'm getting more involved in the advertising actually this year. We work with a company out of Pittsburgh helping us with the advertising, and I've taken on some more responsibilities of the social media ourselves. We're gonna have a former 4-H'er doing a lot of our daily activities and photos during the fair. I'm excited to see how this goes. The Facebook is going to be monitored daily by myself and another gentleman, and we'll go from there, daily post. And then we have the news outlets, and then there's also geofencing, which I have no idea what that is, but the nice company in Pittsburgh, Beyond Spots and Dots, they know what they're doing there, and they geofence certain areas where you're trying to get people from Beaver County or Armstrong or Westmoreland. They can focus the ads in on this area. So that is a nice thing there for reaching out further and getting strategic locations.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, we use Placer AI all the time to see what our customer patterns are, and then our reward program. Talking about technology, we're going to talk about this later on in the thing, but I have to ask you, have you heard of this new trend in the whole festivals where people, like, they're organizing these mostly out west, California kind of thing, but they're basically going to a centralized POS where the fairgrounds manages the POS system for the entire grounds?
If you're all ran by like one entity, that'd be awesome to do. Because every January we have State Fair Convention in Hershey, and there's stuff like that out there. And I'm trying to do something like that for our tickets to be more up to current. Because we do cash only, and then a few years ago we went to online ticket sales, and that's huge because the number of visitors getting away from cash is getting harder for us to deal with, because we've always been cash only until probably 4 or 5 years ago, and that switch has been hard to keep up with.
Now, are you guys still on a flat rate for, like, if I'm a vendor, I'm a vendor that sells, frozen Oreos or whatever, do I pay a vendor fee or is it percentage of sales?
It's a flat fee towards us. We
Okay.
do commissions or nothing. We charge you per spot in electricity, and it's your spot for the 9 days.
Now, that's interesting. Actually, it's very interesting because the things that you're talking about, we've been able to relate to in our small events and stuff. So, like, I'm almost sitting here taking notes, to be honest with you. So your answers are very, very interesting. But one thing that I want to ask is, there's different events that you recognize. I mean, universally amongst all fairs and all, anything like that, festivals. The Demolition Derby is obviously, the school bus demolition derby is obviously stands out. But like when you're plotting events and you're plotting whatever and you're planning, like, what's the craziest behind the scenes headache that the average fairgoer sitting in the grandstands never sees? That, like, when you're dealing with it, there's so much planning, there's so much whatever, and people just show up and leave, and they don't know how much goes into it. What's like the hardest, most elaborate thing you got to put together?
I mean, 9 days of just scheduling everything so nothing overlaps is hard. I mean, we have a concert with Larry Fleet coming on July 11th. The concerts are very nice, but it's also a logistical headache for myself. But it gets through it. Every year is a little different challenge because every musician's different on what they want and need. So that's all part of the game.
What's your favorite motorsport you guys do? I mean, you guys do so much. I mean, if people don't understand how big the Big Butler Fair is, what are some of the motorsports you guys do?
I mean, the two main ones are demo derbies and truck and tractor pulls. But there's what 6 days of that out of our 9 days is motorsports related to demo derbies and truck pulls. There's figure eight racing, traditional car demo, and then our school bus demo, which we're only one of few in the area that does that. And then we have 3 nights of truck and tractor pulls. But around the area of Western PA, we have a very large number of truck and tractor pullers to put 3 different shows on with not much overlap at all.
It's crazy. People haven't been to a tractor pull. I mean, walking through, you're basically there, and then they get one pull, right? They only get one hook.
Yeah, one hook, and so you can get 300 feet.
Yeah, that's all you get. So if you mess it up, if you forget to hit a certain clutch or whatever may happen, you're cooked for the entire week.
Yeah, you drive 4 hours and have a poor performance, and you're just driving back 4 hours thinking of that screw up.
Hopefully you're single. You don't have to hear the wife yell at you about, I told you, more air in the tires.
Yeah.
Well, Clint, you have 9 big days to fill. And, let's say you try something and it just flops. A grandstand event just flops. It's a dud. So what's like the post-mortem situation look like as far as like, the person comes to you and has there been a situation where like the person that was in charge of that or whatever, they're excited and they're looking to re-sign for next year. And you're like, hey, there's no way we'll try that again. Like with that kind of situation, how do you go about handling that?
I mean, you got to try something once and change things up. We're pretty repetitive every year from year to year what we do in the grandstands, but we have a system that's working for us now, especially over the past 10 plus years I've been involved in the entertainment. So we change up things a little bit. Like this year, we're doing the Rodfathers Butler's doing a car show on July 4th. That's new for us this year. So you'll look and see how the attendance was, how the people responded to it, and live and learn. People want change, and when you change it, they aren't happy. But let's see how the community and the people coming to the fair handle it. That's ultimately the ultimate decision on what we do.
And I think it's amazing, how you guys honor tradition. I mean, your brand's over 170 years old. If we think about it, we're celebrating 250 this year. I mean, that's almost the whole way back to the beginning, and the way you guys go through social media, you guys go through local radio, print, creating all these fun ads and ideas and obviously planning out guests 2 years out for entertainment. How do you make that lever work where you're trying to support like what the grandparents want and what the youth wants?
It's just a balance of everything. You can definitely tell in 10 years I've been around the fairs, the demographic of the fair committees and people running the fairs have gotten a lot younger. So it's changing that way. I think it needs done to keep up with the technology, but it's also, I mean, I have people, another West Media out of Greensburg's helping us with the website, and they have skill set too to input on what we need to be doing for advertising. And then the grandstand events is we have something that works, and if it works, you don't change too much of it.
You mentioned the tradition and the marketing end of it. Obviously, we're very interested in hearing how you do this because that's what we do and that's how we try to separate ourselves. And we've seen in the grocery business it's evolved big time. I mean, early 2Ks, it was still just put the print ad out there and hope your prices are good enough to bring people in. I mean, that's how you reached people and that's how you connect with people. So when you're talking to sponsors now, are you getting is it like yearly where like you pretty much get the same people just signing up for things, or do you get people like now that are kind of like, hey, can we do this? Or are there more instances now versus 10 years ago when you started of like sponsors coming to you with ideas of how they can sponsor?
Both. I mean, we've had some long-term sponsors at the fair, from the Marine Corps to Leaf Guard, gutter protection. But also in the past few years, Cleveland Brothers and Murphy Tractor have reached out to sponsor us. They don't say monetary, but they donate equipment, which is a huge savings for us to have their equipment on the ground, so we don't have to rent it to help put on the show. So that's all been new within the last 2 years, having people donate large equipment like that. And another big sponsor for the tractor donations on the fairgrounds, Watson's Equipment out of Grove City. They've been loyal to us for probably over 10 years now, donating equipment for our horse shows and rodeos.
That's awesome. I love seeing the track preparation for the tractor pulling. A friend of mine, McConnell Brothers, they come over and help us when we did stuff back at the farm. But just to see how they keep that track just almost a perfect consistency for the tires to bite in. Brian, if you haven't seen like the tractor pull, imagine like a hot rod that's a tractor that's back heavy, ripping down, pulling this massive sled in front of all your friends and family. They're going to talk about you for the rest of the year. I mean, it's the craziest experience. Have you seen, as far as the motorsports, where's the biggest growth you've seen through all the motorsports that you guys continue to see year over year, more people attend?
I mean, our grandstands are all usually pretty full for all the events. Truck pulls probably come more with technology. I'm not involved in it, but I'm assuming the technology's come along there. And demo derbies, not a lot of demo or not a lot of technology to go smash into another car, but those guys are great at doing it.
You guys are, it's iconic. I mean, everybody knows over the 4th, always over the 4th, Big Butler Fair. So, I mean, obviously that whoever thought of that to begin with and that date of combining that, was a genius.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not here to be interviewed right now. The guy that thought of that.
Yeah, no, but isn't that, I mean, think about it. It's just such a great partnership. I mean, isn't it like such a perfect time of the year in Pennsylvania to have an event?
It
and
is.
People are free. People are visiting home that have been away for a while. I mean, it's just such a great marriage. I feel like that date is just so awesome for Butler County.
Yeah, the 4th of July and the Butler Fair become synonymous together.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So Clint, and moving into more of the I'm always interested about the vendors, because I was when I did the Oktoberfest, we had nothing like you guys. We had like 120 vendors the one year was our max. But how do you like when if you get a spot at the Big Butler Fair as a vendor, are you like guaranteed that spot forever? Or are you guys moving around every year?
We're loyal. Once you get a spot and you want to come back, we're not going to just bump you. I mean, if you want to, we'll move you if there's an open spot. But some of these food vendors and craft vendors have been coming for years, and that's their spot. We're not going to change it up unless they request it.
Now, have you ever had the situation where something like, maybe it was a vendor for 10 years, took a couple years off to go find whatever, and then come back and want the same spot? Have you ever had like a touchy subject like that?
Oh, I'm sure it's happened, and I'm sure it's been dealt with the best we can. But lately, nothing like that's come to my attention.
I got to ask this question too, but in our experience of dealing with events and with my experience working with the Fort Armstrong Folk Festival, like, let's face it, inflation has really taken hold over the last really 10 years. I mean, really for the last 80 years, but let's just break it down for 10 years. So the last 10 years, inflation has really taken over. So, families are coming in there and they're very economically challenged right now. So like, is there is there like new bundle deals, or is there anything you've done or been conscious about or have had people approach you about, okay, this is a way that we can, appeal to families and make sure that the families aren't isolated and aren't, able to participate?
We don't offer bundle deals, but if you come earlier in the day, you want to walk around, you do save some money by coming earlier. And we also, you can buy a ride band extra. So if you just you don't have to ride. You can come walk around, enjoy the food and the animals and the grandstand events. That's all included in your fair admission. The rides are extra, so that is something we've done. But we've tried to be as tight as we can on the pricing because inflation is definitely hitting around the area.
It's amazing the whole experience. You've seen so many different renditions over the last decade of the fair. For somebody that hasn't been to the Big Butler Fair, walk us through like a perfect day at the fair.
Oh, perfect day. Sun's out. It's not 95 and humid. Probably low 80s is a pretty good temperature to be at the fairgrounds, but that's all weather dependent. And just the animal shows start in the morning. and then the midway opens in the afternoon, and then grandstand events in the afternoon. There's something to do for most of the day there. There's an activity somewhere on the grounds going on.
And as far as the animals go, what's your favorite animal to go take a walk through the stables or walk through the grounds? What's your favorite animal to see?
Probably the little goats.
I'll have to check out the little goats. I think Shar. I have a 1.5-year-old daughter. I think she'd love the little goats.
Oh yeah, yep.
So Clint, with the Big Butler Fair this year, everything's going to be obviously awesome. We look forward to it every year. My wife and I go up. We help Phil Cehily with his tractor. It's first time off the block. But looking at the Big Butler Fair this year, how can people that want to participate in the community, how can they reach out to you guys, get a hold of you if they want to volunteer?
We have groups that volunteer. Like we have the American Legion doing the tickets. The Boy Scouts, they clean the garbage up. They do some litter control. And the 4-H kids help out as they need around the fairgrounds as well.
Cool. So if you join one of those groups, you can help the fair indirectly by joining one of those groups, nonprofits, to be a participant at the fair.
Yep.
Now, Clint, for people that maybe aren't familiar with organization of these big events, local big events, I mean, this isn't all that Clint Cehily has to think about during the day or the year. I mean, you're the VP, but I mean, let's face it, you still have your family, your personal life. You still have, your main job. I mean, for the folks out there, I mean, explain a day in the life of Clint. 2 weeks leading into the Big Butler Fair. It's a Tuesday. Let's go through a rapid fire of your day.
I work 7 to 5 at a construction company in Saxonburg, Advantage Stone Construction. I'm an estimator there, so that takes up most of the day. And then most evenings, starting this week, I've been going up to the fair. Majority of the nights doing something leading into for the fair, whether it's social media, website, or getting the grounds ready. But someone is on the grounds most days now, from sun up to sundown, helping to get the grounds ready for the event. Well, 2 weeks out.
Well, from a newly minted within the last 3-year Butler County resident, I wanted to make sure people understood the level of commitment that the people go to put together this great event for our county every year. So I personally thank you for all your efforts.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, all the directors and majority of the people are volunteers on the grounds.
It's amazing. It's an amazing effort, and what an amazing result you get from that effort. I mean, geez.
Oh, thank you. Draws
people in from every, probably, I'd imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, does every state attend the Butler Fair? I'm sure over time, but it's hard to say, hard to track.
It's hard to keep track of. I mean, last year we did have exhibitors from out of state. They came home. They were originally from PA, but moved out west, and now they come home for the 9-day fair.
That's awesome. So, Clint, out of respect for your time, I just want to make sure is there anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to cover, or anything you wanted to say?
I know. I just hope they come out and see it. On the 4th, we did double the size of the fireworks thanks to some local sponsorship from area businesses. So that's going to be a nice show on the 4th of July at dusk. And just hope to see everyone there.
Well, Clint, we can't thank you enough for your time today, but more importantly, for the endless hours that you and your crew put in to make the Big Butler County Fair a stunning success and one of the biggest in Western Pennsylvania.
No, thank you guys for having me on.
Genuine PA Skill Games, powered by Pacematic and supported by PA Skill Alliance, are dedicated to fostering growth throughout the Commonwealth. These games have been instrumental in supporting local fraternal orders, fire companies, bars, and retailers by keeping businesses operational, maintaining employment, and funding community projects. With over 5,000 communities across Pennsylvania, it's highly probable that Genuine PA Skill Games are working hard behind the scenes in your area. They ensure the vitality of our main streets, restaurants, bars, and stores. By supporting PASkillalliance.org, you are investing time in your community, employing your neighbors, and contributing to local nonprofits. Together, we can help keep Main Street open for business. Well, that was a great interview with Clint Cehily. And I'll tell you what, that guy's got a big job on his hands, Doug. But as we know, there's a lot of people out there with big jobs in their hands, and we are lucky enough to have them on the podcast. And when Clint was another one to add to the list, man, and better him than me this time of year.
You used to do it, though.
Yeah, I know. Used to. That's a key word there.
Retired.
The dude's got a big job, and he he does a great job. So very fortunate to have him heading up one of Butler County's great traditions. But it's time for retail stories from around the world.
Ryan, pack your bags. We're going over and hanging out with the millennials of China. And we're going to talk to them about this new trend in the retail environment. Now, we think about America. We think about this, this little label on the bottom of the box that talks about expirations, right? Well, the new thing is these people go to these stores that are created specifically with short-dated coded product.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. One of my earliest memories of Dad in a grocery store, one of the first things he taught me was we were in the grocery store. I was probably 6 years old, and he said, "Hey, watch this," and he grabbed the bread from the back of the shelf and showed me that it was, fresher than the stuff at the front. So, I mean, I can relate to this, situation.
So in China right now, Ryan, there's this large group of these people forming these social media groups who are following all these stores. It's chains of nearly expired goods. And so it's almost like a fashion craze. It's almost like, they have those little squishy things. They're like little dumplings. Same idea. These people are joining forces and targeting these stores for specific goods.
So instead of trying to hide the fact that, they're inferior goods, inadequate goods, you're saying that they're trying to make a big deal about it.
Make a big deal about it, and then they're creating these crazy viral videos where imagine it's like Santa's sack. Hey Ryan, I scored 10,000 close-dated eggs. I'm super excited about it. I'll never use all of it, but look at the hoard. I just saved so much money.
Yeah, and shoppers, they treat dates like they're laws written in science. I mean, some things can be used after the expiration, some things can't.
And it's actually crazy. It's a marketing tool. So before 1970s, it was actually an opening code. So it wasn't even for the consumer. It was created so that the stalker knew where to put the item and if it was good or not. But it was more of a suggestion of optimum, goodness, not if it was bad or good health-wise.
Yeah, but by the 70s, people, they wanted to know what was happening. They wanted to know, they wanted transparency. So they introduced Best By, sell-by dates, corporate secret word. Marks and Spencer, famous British retailer, started putting sell-by dates on their food. And 70s strictly to manage your inventory turnover and make sure everything on display looked hyper fresh. And, it's good because, nobody wants... It's not a good look if you go into somebody's store and they're, 15 people, smelling, the meat. I mean, that's not a good look.
Yeah, just because a date is good doesn't mean it is good.
No.
We've walked into some retailers that have the green meat case. Ugh,
No.
rough. But no, it's actually, there's a second part of this. So we talk about food insecurity in the world. We talk about a lot of issues with that. They estimate because of coding and Best By dates, and you gotta remember, sometimes it's manufacturer driven to increase turns. They want to sell more stuff. So if they close the day a little bit, they know it won't reach the sale correctly and they'll actually rotate more. So it's created billions of dollars of food waste a year are literally being thrown into the dumpster.
Yeah, I mean, you go to a corporate store and anything that's out of date just gets thrown away.
Right, and half of them don't even make it to the food bank. That's why I think Dad, you might be able to correct me on the history on this. Didn't Dad create the reduction wagon, the word reduction wagon?
Sounds like something he would do. I don't remember if it was him or not that created it, but I mean, it sounds like something, he was very about not wasting anything, not making sure somebody could use something and making sure nothing went into the trash. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds like something he would do, but I'm not sure if it was him or not, but, it's definitely, there's a time and a place for it, as long as it's still good, as long as it's not stuff that's too far turned.
It's funny. Lindsay's mom, Carla, loves the reduction wagon. So does Phil. Happy birthday to Phil, by the way. Loves the reduction wagon. They literally go in the store and the first thing they check is what's on the reduction wagon. It happens to be by the restrooms. So if you go in Saxbury, you go back to the right, it's by the restrooms. And I think at Katanning, isn't it by the back door there going out to the left?
It used to be, but we kind of got rid of it. And we still have some reduced items. But, one thing that you have to watch, the thing that's tricky is people will trade down.
So explain that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming in looking for a chuck roast, a $12 chuck roast. If there's a $8 chuck roast beside it, I'm going to buy the $8 chuck roast. You got a customer that came in looking for a $12 chuck roast. Now all of a sudden you only sold them $8 versus the $12. So there there's a fine line between, and that's why a lot of corporate stores, even though it's wasteful, they just throw the stuff away because by the time you spend the labor to reduce it and put it back out and have somebody trade down, which we just explained, it's not good.
So although the orange stickers are popular in China, here we're trying to manage our inventory better.
Yes, we are.
So Ryan, that takes us into one of my favorite parts. This week's Ryan's retail story.
I mean, this week's retail story was an interesting experience. I mean, I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada with Doug. We're on our brotherly trip, and unfortunately, we didn't strike it rich. It is the modern day, in my opinion. Nobody else calls it this. I don't know if you're allowed technically, but it's the modern gold rush. I mean, it's in 1849 or the 49ers, 1849. You had guys from all over the world, girls from all over the world, put all their belongings into whatever, take the train, go out to San Francisco and get a plot of land and try to hit it rich with gold. And that's how it is kind of with Las Vegas with the World Series of Poker. I mean, you have people from all around the world to come to the Las Vegas during the World Series of Poker, which is, early summer. It's from Memorial Day through, a couple weeks after the 4th of July. And they just literally pull their money and try to strike it rich. So, we do it and it's fun. It's a fun trip. But at the end of the trip, we didn't strike it rich, but I still have money in the account, so, we weren't staying long enough. So I still had money in the account. I pulled the money out of the account. Went in to pull the money out of the account. While I'm pulling the money out of the account, I accidentally leave my ID at the window. I didn't realize it until I got to the gift shop to buy some, souvenirs for some of the family. And, I was on the phone and somehow it came up about my credit card and about my ID. And I'm like, I went for my ID. It wasn't there. Credit card wasn't there. So I realized I left them at the gate or, at the cashier station. So I went back. Cashier says, oh, no, we gave it to security. So I go over to security. And at this point, when you're cashing out, you just want to go. Like, you're not looking to hang around. You're not excited anymore. You're just like, okay, it was fun, but, I didn't win. I'm out. So I go there. He said, it's not, I don't have it anymore. I just gave it to the main security. But, when you go there, tell them you're from Pennsylvania. And I'm like, okay. So, I didn't know what that meant, but I went to the main cashier and, the main security. And I said, I'm Ryan Sprankle. I'm from Pennsylvania. I don't know why I'm supposed to tell you that, but I'm supposed to tell you that I'm from Pennsylvania. And they actually acted like I was from like some, London, England or, some fancy place because they're like, you're from Pennsylvania. I'm like, yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania. They're like, oh, wow. They're like, here's your ID. You just need to sign for it. I'm like, okay. And they're like, do you know why he told you you're from Pennsylvania? I'm like, no. He said, because you're not the only Ryan Sprankle that left your ID in the cage this morning. Now, keep in mind, there's 7 billion people in the world, and there's not a lot of Ryan Sprankles. I mean, it's Ryan obviously is a pretty popular word if you're a 45 to 60-year-old guy, but like Sprankle's not a very popular last name, and Ryan Sprankle together, what's the chances? And so then, let alone you're at the World Series of Poker, there's only, 4,000 people probably at one time playing the World Series of Poker. How many people are cashing out at that moment in just the morning in a couple-hour window? What are the odds? So I'm like, wait a minute, there's another Ryan Sprankle. He said, yeah. And I said, just out of curiosity, where's he from? And then he's like, Oklahoma. I'm like, so Ryan Sprankle from Oklahoma and Ryan Sprankle from Pennsylvania did that on the same day. He's like, yeah. He's like, that's crazy. He said, we've never seen anything like that. He said, that's why it's such a big deal you're from Pennsylvania. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. But I was just like thinking, is there, am I alive in a parallel universe? Because it's a niche situation. There's not a lot of people out of the general population that play poker, first of all. Then out of all the poker players, there's not a lot of people that are willing to put the time and, accrue the money to go out and play in the World Series of Poker. So it was just bizarre. It was bizarre. It was really bizarre.
I'm laughing because literally I was like, where the heck did he go? Because like you were gone for like 2 hours. Like you're supposed to go to the gym. I think go to the gym and do something and get the cash. And usually, like, I mean, no offense. I mean, you're a guy that likes to work out, but you're not going to do a 2-hour session on a trip. So you were gone. And the best part about it, you come back and you're like, tell me the story. And I'm like, meanwhile, I'm like searching. Like, I'm like, I got to find this Ryan guy. Ryan Sprankle, Kansas. Guess what came up?
No idea.
YouTube of you on this podcast with a green tongue going,
That's a great clip. That's a great clip.
it was literally the best. It was the best, like, because it wasn't even the Ryan Sprankle from Kansas. It was like that. But it's funny that the name recognition. You know, there's a Douglas James Sprankle that lives in Western Pennsylvania,
No.
and he's 55. He just died recently, and I've been keeping up with him now. I know there's another one of me out there, but he got caught twice for illegal fur taking.
Wow, he's a hardcore redneck.
Can you imagine? Because like it came up on a job interview once. I put my job in there like this. Do you hunt? I'm like, does it look like I hunt? No, I don't hunt. He's like, no hunting, no, fur taking. I'm like, what are you talking about? No.
That's wild.
So you have a Ryan. Was it William middle name too?
No, they didn't. They didn't say the middle name. I mean, they didn't mention. I'm sure if it was the same middle name, they would have mentioned it. I mean, they just mentioned the Ryan Sprankle part. But I mean, I was thinking like, you just do the math of like, what are the chances? Like what are the chances? I mean, it'd be like two people saying that they play chess at a high level. I mean, like what are the chances of that happening? It's just it was interesting.
You gave this guys probably the highlight of their day.
No, they were very excited about it. They were very excited about it. Very excited about it. I can't imagine what the guy was like when he looked up the Google or whatever and saw me with the kiss expression, the green tongue. He's probably like, whoa. That's probably why he hasn't contacted me yet. He's like, this guy's nuts, man. Nuts.
He likes green Oreos.
But hey, it's time for retail trends. Cash isn't king at the county fair. No more.
No, Ryan, you know what? It's bring on the funnel cakes, bring on the demolition derby, but also bring on the midway. And midway's changing in a big way. Why? People don't trust people. And the corporate espionage and the tracking and all the statistics is coming to the midway at your local county fair.
You've seen it, over the last 100 years, county fair was the last sacred bastion of the cash economy. Vendors showed up with a pickup truck, paid a couple $100 for a 10-foot spot in the commercial building, set up a metal cash box, and sold custom leather belts or honey jars. That was the way it was, But now, just like when you go to a baseball game or anywhere else, man, they're cutting out the cash, man. They're cutting out the cash.
Yeah, it used to be the pure independent hustle. And now, instead of that person leaving with greenbacks, they're leaving with receipts. And it's that mentality that people don't trust the vendors to report their accurate sales. And the fair, to offset a lot of the increasing costs, want a bigger piece of the action.
I mean, that's what it is. It's accountability. And when we say the people, I mean, let's be clear. We're not talking about the people going to the fair. We're not talking about the fair group. We're talking about Big Brother. We're talking about we're talking about the local and federal, government. We're talking about, the credit card companies. They want to force everything through because they're going to get the fees. We're talking about, the organizers of the event because that's the only way they can really track it. And so, it's about full accountability, to be honest with you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with full accountability. It just takes out some of that fun, like, play that used to happen. But in all honesty, it's probably not a bad thing. It makes it simpler. I mean, you just basically have your card. You don't have to worry about cash. You don't have to worry about tracking cash and coins. It's not a bad thing.
I think of Nephew, though, and his cheesesteaks. What they're doing is they're taking away from the, hey, here's your $100 for your spot. If you do great or if you're a really good vendor, you're going to do better. They're now saying we want a piece of the action.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but as long as everything is to spec, and as long as the action isn't, as long as the fees aren't astronomical, it'll make sense in the end, and it'll be cleaner. But it is a transition period, and it is for people that are used to that kind of like incentive to doing those events. Now, let's face it, they're going to have to raise their prices to offset new rake, the new scoop, the in between the taxes and the fees and all that kind of stuff. So, basically in the end, people are just going to pay more money for the products. Is really what it amounts to.
The end user.
Yeah.
Did you see what they're charging though?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I
Did
mean,
you see how many points?
no.
15 to 20.
Oh wow.
I mean, think about that. You went from cash to 15 to 20% going right out of the till to wherever. So if you're operating, those guys usually operate on a 2-to-1 margin, meaning like they get like, if they're going to make something cost them 50 cents, they're going to sell it for $1. Now they're only going to make 30% on that item. That's almost half of the profitability.
It is, but I mean, let's face it. Just like everything, history repeats itself. And this is what happened in medieval Europe.
Oh my God. When I was reading this, I went back to like you. Remember you used to have the original Braveheart VHS?
I do. Actually, I do. Yeah.
And remember how you had like the cool TV with a VHS player? This is back before they had big screen TVs. This is like a little TV VHS player.
Yeah. 13-inch black and white.
And you left Braveheart your sophomore year in college at home.
Yeah. I mean, I love that movie, man.
Me too. I watch it every day.
It's just now, it's kind of antiquated in the fact that it's too long now. I mean, people don't want that long of a movie.
Oh, it's like what, 3 hours?
I went to the Michael Jackson movie. It was an amazing movie. But at the same time, there was like about 20 minutes before it ended. I was like, okay, this should be over. It's funny how things have changed.
Oh, you felt it?
Everything's quicker. I mean, I love the movie, but any movie, in my opinion, that's over 2 hours now is just too much. It's taking too much of your time. You start thinking about, oh God, I gotta be doing this. I gotta get up early. I gotta do that. I gotta freaking do that. That guy wants this. He wants this. He needs this. I need this. He needs that. I need that. They're taking this. You think about all the stuff, man, that they're just taking off you, and you're sitting in the theater and you should be doing all the stuff you're supposed to be doing, and it's a nightmare.
Well,
You just sit there like, it gets to the point you're just sitting there thinking, I shouldn't be here because.
I feel like you're the vendor from the 12th and 3rd century in France who had to originally deal with this idea of percentage-based retailing, where they call it the thorough toll and the market stallage, where the lords and the kings of the local fiefdom would enforce people taking percentages of all your sales. If you brought stuff that you just hiked over from the spice trail, walked 10,000 miles to go sell it in France, you're now paying percentage to the local fiefdom or lord.
It's a total feudal squeeze. I mean, we know it as retailers. We know how this ends. When a small business gets hit, 15% gross tax just to stand on the dirt, they have two choices. They either stop coming to the fair entirely or they have to jack up the prices. I mean, that's all they can do.
I can see it now. I can see this guy with with his little notepad at the corner of the Oreo freeze bar. Hey, you, stop, Lord. You must give me 15% of Oreo sales for you to continue to sell at this fair.
Yeah, and it could, honestly, it could completely ruin the community of the fair. I mean, it could actually shut down the fair for the people that are used to the old ways, that are used to that camaraderie, that are used to that kind of bartering atmosphere. It actually could kill the fair. I mean, we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, Ryan. So, you know what? I'm a true believer. Let's leave the cash boxes alone for these guys. Let's let these ladies sell their wares. I mean, let's face it, it's their side hustle. It's not their main squeeze for most. So we just want to make sure they have an opportunity to sell at their local fair and represent local goods without having the fiefdom overlord taking all their money.
And now it's time for my item of the week. And my item of the week is Kit Kat Bar. Kit Kat Bar is my item of the week. Again, it's not sponsored. It's just something I enjoy. And the reason I thought of the Kit Kat Bar was I was playing poker, as we know, at the World Series of Poker. And I spent about 8 hours next to this nice lady. And the whole time, she had the Kit Kat Bar on top of her phone, like this, right in front of her with her chips in front. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this Kit Kat. And it reminded me, honestly, of how much I enjoy Kit Kat bars. I mean, they're a simple thing, and, it's great,
Man, the crisp crack of the Kit Kat bar, that in the shareability of it, I mean, how great is it?
Yeah, I mean, she didn't offer to share, but at the same time, it is very shareable. I mean, in this king-size Kit Kat bar, you got like 9 or 10.
Wow.
And I mean, they're not terrible for you. I mean, if you have 3 fingers of them, you know, they call each one a finger. If you have 3 fingers, 160 calories. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's tasty. It's a tasty treat. Just enough chocolate, you know, it's a couple of ribbons of chocolate in there. That's the item of the week, Kit Kat bar.
Well, I can't wait to unwrap it, Ryan, but it's $1 billion industry, the Kit Kat bar. And in Asia, it's literally like a religious symbol. It is a way of life. It is basically the gatekeeper to different parts of your life.
That explains it because the lady was of Asian descent.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't wait to talk about that.
Young. She was probably 22.
Oh, okay. So what flavor was it? Do you remember what flavor?
It was this one right here.
It was just the red one.
It was this one. It was the same exact package. It was a king size, and I didn't even see her open it up once.
Oh, and we're going to talk about that, why she didn't do it. I can't wait though, Ryan. But before we talk about all the crazy modernization in Asia, let's talk a little bit about its history.
All right. It starts back in 1935 in York, England, created by a confectionery company called Roundtree's. Wasn't invented for kids or movie theaters. It was actually inspired by a recommendation from a world-class factory worker.
So wait, the factory worker made the Kit Kat?
Yeah, he put a note in a company suggestion box saying they needed to make a cheap, packable chocolate bar the working man could take in his blue-collar lunchbox to eat at the factory during his shift break.
So have a break's literally a shift break.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was literally a shift break. I mean, you know, he used the crispy wafer covered in chocolate because the wafer kept the production costs low, divided into 4 snappable fingers so you could easily share it. That's where the fingers got the name fingers. Coworkers on the line save half hour without getting melted chocolate all over your hands.
That's crazy. So, you know, modernly though, you know, did you know the filling inside the Kit Kat wafer is just more Kit Kat?
No, it isn't just regular chocolate and cream.
No. It literally is when they have bag Kit Kats, right? Comes off the manufacturing line. It's like meh. They grind it into a powder, and then that is what's used to make the inside of the Kit Kat.
So it's a Kit Kat and a Kit Kat.
Right. And now it's a regional powerhouse in Japan, especially Japan, where there's over 300 flavors, including soy sauce, green tea, sake, baked potato, which would be a wild flavor, and wasabi.
You know, it's funny that I think the lady that I was sitting next to, I mean, she definitely looked Japanese. So I think she was Japanese, to be honest with you.
There's a lot of Japanese poker players now.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's really gaining traction with Japanese. I mean, they're excellent players. I mean, she was a very good player. She ended up just getting, she got kind of hosed. I mean, this guy hit this crazy flush on the river. She had a great hand. She played it perfectly, real cagey, and he just got bailed out, you know, by the luck of the deck.
Well, she obviously didn't experience it. Do you know Kit Kat in Japan translates into Kito Katsu, which is you will surely win?
Oh, well, that explains why she didn't open it. I mean, she was keeping it as good luck. I mean, that does explain it because I was thinking, man, first of all, I couldn't see, I mean, she was in very good shape. She was very fit. Couldn't see that being her go-to snack. And then she didn't even open it. So obviously it was just there for good luck.
Well, people buy for each other for gifts, for good luck gifts, for like good luck on next, like, you know, whether you're graduating college, high school, it's a part of the process. It's basically giving somebody a lucky charm.
So, you know, give them to your friend, you know, break them properly.
That's right, guys. This week's item inside the Ryan's grocery bag, Kit Kat.
And it's time for, boom, Doug's retail story of the week.
Guys, you know, sometimes you get opportunities to go on vacation, and I just, you know, in life I have the best luck, but then I have the worst luck. And so a couple years ago, it was pre-COVID, it was like 2018, Lindsay and I wanted to do the whole, like people always talk about, like, you know, Dominican Republic, so cheap. Let's go to Punta Cana. Let's go south of the border. So Lindsay and I decided to go down, and ironically, this hotel was praised as the place Michael Jackson used to go to. I mean, it was gorgeous, right? And, you know, there was some cracks in the original, like, you know, when you think about this magical place in the Caribbean, and Punta Cana is supposed to be super safe and it's supposed to be so great. But, you know, I found out later having some problems. So Lindsay and I go down, and then the first thing I noticed, the TV was ripped off the wall. Like, it was hanging from the wall by, like, the bolts. So, like, somebody must have, like, yanked on it. And they said not to brush your teeth, so you had to use bottled water when you're brushing your teeth because, like, the water's not that great. And so Lindsay and I get through most of the week, have a great time. You know, they have like these degenerates that are walking the streets selling marijuana to tourists and stuff. So I mean, there's some seedy issues, but we get through most of the week, and you know, we're like, hey, this guy comes up to us on the beach. He's like, listen, if you guys go to this timeshare meeting, you'll get an awesome dinner at our 5-star restaurant. And we're like, how bad can a timeshare meeting be? So I'm there and Lindsay's there and we go through this timeshare meeting. And so like what people don't realize, these places are so huge. There's like the regular, like, you know, call it Expedia tourist place. But then there's like these like secondary villas. And so these secondary villas, you go through it, Ryan, and imagine going through somebody else's house with live models. Like people dressed like they're going out to dinner in this condo, and you're walking by the bathroom and she's getting ready and he's in the living room, but they're not moving, and they're humans dressed in the night attire, like they're going out for this 5-star experience. And then they change for the next apartment, for the next room, and all this other stuff. So it takes about an hour and a half to get through this whole tour. We go back into the this, I call it the closing room or the sales room, and the guy's there and he's like, "What'd you think of the tour?" I'm like, "Oh, it was nice." And he's like, "So how many times do you go on vacation?" I'm like, "I'm a grocery. I go on like once a year if I'm lucky, and my brother's junket." And he was like, "Well, did you want to be a timeshare member?" He's like, here's the crazy thing. They're selling you this very expensive package, and all it guarantees you is that you get 40 free like vacation rooms 40 times, and after that it's worth nothing. You get to rebuy. Crazy, right? And so he wanted me to sign over $80,000 and do a payment plan for 10 years to pay off his timeshare. And I'm like, well, let me see the document. He's like, well, are you interested? I said, yeah, I mean, I'll look at your document. And I'm like, I'll think about it and talk to my attorney and get back to you. And he's like, oh, no, you got to do it right now. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, I need a yes or no right now. I'm like, well, the answer is no. I don't do anything like that unless at least my mom looks over the document. I'm not just going to do this. He's like this. Is that your final answer? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm going to go to dinner and go home and be great. So this is like so where I'm at right now is the vacation's almost over. This is like 2 days before we fly out. So I think it's like a Thursday night. So Lindsay and I go and we go to this restaurant. I have two drinks, all like the whole time, right? By the time I finish my second drink and I'm already feeling real woozy, by the time I walk out, I am blackout, stumbling, falling into bushes, drunk, like hammered, trying to get back to the room. Lindsay has to help me get back to the room, and I fall asleep on the bed. I wake up 2 hours later and start dry heaving uncontrollably 2 hours straight, and sick, just sick. So I wake up and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, Lindsay, we gotta call a doctor. Like I'm gonna die. Like I might die. And she's like, what do you mean? And she was there for the symptoms. And I'm like, we got to go. So they send over a golf cart to pick me up to take me to the local medical doctor that's on the thing. And he comes out, no gloves. He's like, we're going to do some blood work. And I'm like, ugh. Needle wasn't in a clean situation. Does the blood draw and pulls the report. And he's like, you've been poisoned. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, there's some kind of toxin that you have in your system. You've been poisoned. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, well, can I have a copy of that? He's like, oh, we don't have a copy here. I'm like, how the hell did you print it out in the first place? You know what I mean? So then he gives the paperwork to the cab driver and says, I have to go to the hospital. They can't take care of me. I have to go to the hospital, which is across the heart of Punta Cana, which, not a great place. So we enter this hospital and I get into the emergency room and there's this doctor there and she's like, $1,500. I'm like, for what? She's like, if you want to be seen, it's $1,500 right now, credit card, or you can't be seen. And I'm like, well, okay, well, here's my $1,500. So they take me upstairs and they put me in this secure area. So there's barbed wire outside. There's this hallway. There's this British guy. There's this German guy. It's all like European/Americans in this hallway. And at the end of the hallway, there's an armed guard with the door locked. You can't get in or out. And so I'm there and the doctor's like, well, we just, we think that you got poisoned. We're not sure what it is and everything else. But you need to stay with us to make sure that there's nothing wrong with your heart. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like 34. There's nothing wrong with my heart. I'm fine. So we're there and they feed you for the $1,500. They feed you saltine crackers, enough for one, a bottle of water and some hot tea. That's all they give you for this process. So I'm sitting there with Lindsay. And the worst part about it, don't black out, Ryan, but that when the lady put the needle in, she missed the vein and it ruptured my entire artery, like not my artery, but my vein in my hand. And so I sat like that for like 8 hours, 10 hours. And so the doctor and nurse comes back in. She's like, "Hey, we need to take care of you. We really don't have a setup for your wife. We'll take her back in a cab back to the hotel by herself." And I'm like, no. She ain't going nowhere. She's going to sit right here with me. I'm not going to let her out of my sight. This is crazy. I'm already in a crazy country. And so this happened. So then I get through the night. I wake up the next morning. And the doctor comes in finally, and she's like, "How you feeling?" I'm like, "Well, good, but my flight leaves this evening. I need to get out of here." And she's like, "Well, we can't let you go." And they're trying to get me to that secondary day billing point so that then they can release me and bill me for 2 days. It's all a scam. So I'm like, "Well, what do I need to do to get out of here?" And she's like, "Well, I need to clear you." I'm like, "Okay." I just acted stupid. She left. I grabbed my IV bag, because they have an IV bag so you can't just walk out. And I walked down to the counter, and I'm sitting there, and like these like very nice dressed people are there, and it's kind of creepy how nice this waiting area is for the billing department. And they're like, sir, you can't be down here. You got to go back up into your room." I said, "Whoa." I said, "Listen," I said, "I'm getting out of here right now." I'm like, she's like, "No, you can't leave. You got to stay here for one more day. That's what the doctor says." I'm like, first off, that's not my doctor. Secondly, I'm leaving right now. They're like, "We can't let you go." I'm like, "Listen, my wife's upstairs. If I don't show back up in 5 minutes," I instructed her to call the consulate in Punta Cana and report me being kidnapped by this hospital, and they're going to evac me. They're like, "Well," I said, "That's what we're doing." I said, "I'm going to sit here for 4 more minutes and she's going to call." I'm like, "What do you want to do?" They're like, "Well, you need to at least get the IV out." I said, "I'm not giving you $1 more. I'm going to go back up there. And if the doctor doesn't show up in 5 minutes and pull this IV out, I'm going to call the consul and say I've been kidnapped." So the doctor comes, pulls it out. I get back in the cab, rock over to the hotel. I go up to the main concierge guy. When he first comes in, he's like, "Oh, how you doing? How's the trip?" I'm like, "You guys poisoned me." And I almost died in this freaking place. I'm like, over me not buying a timeshare. I got the rest of my luggage, got into the car, went back to the thing, flew back home, had a few more issues. But did you see what happened a couple of weeks later after, like, during this time?
No.
There was a lady that was drugged. There was a guy that was drugged. They were doing one of two things. They were either putting Rufalin in drinks, or if you didn't follow a little timeshare game, or number two is they were putting in basically tap water to fill the liquor bottles back up.
I mean, that's crazy.
Punta Cana death cocktail.
I mean, I got a bunch of questions, but the number one question is, was this in a resort, or was it just a hotel in Punta Cana?
It was the number one resort in Punta Cana.
It was a resort.
Yeah.
Okay. The second question is Punta Cana, like, when you look at it visually, is it a city? Does it look like a city? Does it have skyscrapers? Does it have...
It looks like a Mexican, like Mexican or Dominican Republic. It looks like a crazy resort in the middle of poverty.
Okay, so the whole area looks like a resort.
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like Atlantis in Bahamas.
Okay. So we're not talking about skyscrapers here. We're talking about... Okay, so we're talking about the resorts are there, and then there's a collection of, unfortunately, rougher areas of villages to kind of support the situation.
Correct.
And another question I have is when he said about the timeshares, so he wanted you to pay $80,000 for how many years would you have had access to the timeshare, their plan?
20
years. But after that, you wouldn't have had any value.
There's no value at all.
There's no shares. There's nothing. So you're basically paying $80,000 for 20 years of vacations, not counting getting to and from and all the other stuff you got to do.
And non-transferable.
So, I mean, it really was a total scam.
Yeah.
And then obviously everybody's involved, because the question and answers that you just said didn't make sense to me, as far as, like, if they were actually medical professionals looking out for your well-being, both physically and financially, they wouldn't have given the advice that they gave.
And who gives medical documents to a cab driver?
Well, I mean, that's just ludicrous. That's ludicrous.
That's what they did. That's what they did.
I mean, you've heard a ton of people go to Punta Cana and have great experiences, and Dominican Republic, and I mean, Bob Rupert. I mean, he could be on a commercial. I mean, he loves it. A lot of people that I know love it, and they don't go anywhere else. But you had that experience. I went there for my honeymoon. I got horrible food poisoning. All I ate was a salad, but the water must have been.
Oof.
I mean, I was sick. When I look at pictures of my honeymoon, man, at the time I was in the prime of my life. I was in great shape. I had coloring because I just went out in the sun. When I see pictures from that trip, because it was all the pictures were from the end because I got sick at the beginning. I mean, I looked like I literally just came out of some kind of a war camp or something. I mean. It was bad. I mean, I looked like John Thompson's dad, coming out of the Aleutian Islands after
At 90 pounds, at 6'5".
Honestly, like I was I mean, I was sick. That was that. Other than like flu, that was the sickest I've ever gotten in my life. Was on that trip, and I mean, I remember thinking, man, I mean, this might be it here.
Which is crazy because you've always been like a healthy weight. You looked bad when you came back from that.
I mean, it was bad. I was sick. Like, I mean, sick to the point you can't even enjoy a minute. And not like flu sick. I mean, sick.
Like, yeah.
For 4 days.
Oh.
I mean, I was struggling to eat an orange. That's rough. Hopefully everybody out there, I mean, obviously we're not sponsored by any of the all-inclusives in the Dominican Republic. I mean,
Ryan's like an orange.
Yeah,
beware the orange.
Yeah, so but that story. I mean, I'm glad you told it again because I'd forgotten all the details. I just remembered it being like really bad.
It was as an adult person, it was the scariest thing in my life because I had no control of my environment. I had no way out, and they could have made me disappear.
That's the only issue I have. I like to travel. I do. I really do. I mean, it's really my passion. I mean, I'm not like a gun guy. I'm not a boat guy. I'm not a collectible guy. Like everybody has their thing. And my thing is traveling. I enjoy traveling with my family. I book things year in advance, months in advance. Brand loves to travel. And, but one thing I've learned is, outside, if it doesn't have a U.S. and this, some people might say, whatever. But hey, this is my rule. I mean, I'm telling you, you're pretty safe by this. If whatever you're going to doesn't have a U.S. flag or some semblance of a British flag in it, you shouldn't go there, man. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying you shouldn't go there. That's a strong word. I'm saying, personally, I wouldn't advise it. If it doesn't have a U.S. flag or a British flag, somewhere in their flag, let's just stay away from that place because you're pretty safe if you go anywhere that involves those two flags.
That would never happen in Key West.
No, it would never happen in Key West. It would never happen in Canada. It would never happen in the Bahamas. It would never happen in Australia. It would never happen in Scotland. I mean, again, get the theme here.
Oh.
It would never happen in Hawaii.
Union Jack.
It would never happen in the Philippines.
Union Jack.
It would never happen in American Samoa. Get the theme.
You should be a travel agent.
Look for the flag.
That was pretty good. You nailed like 6 there.
Look for the flag.
Nailed 6.
One of those two flags has to be involved or I'm not going. Brand actually is on board with me on that. Like, it would take. Now, there are some stipulations. I'm going to go off topic here. I'm going to rant a little bit. But Viking Cruise Lines, again, not sponsored. Willing to take a sponsorship, but not sponsored. But Viking Cruise Lines, something like that, some really reputable source going to really established countries, okay, let's talk about things. But generally speaking, stick to those two flags. You'll be in good shape. You won't end up in a Dominican hospital with 5 people that are all obviously financially connected, deciding whether or not your life is going to continue to happen or not happen.
I think this trauma came back. I'm not going to travel for a while.
Woo! No, I mean, it's a good reminder, man. Honestly, we're not young pups. I mean, we shouldn't be chancing things.
No. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to travel and go see Clint at this year's Big Butler Fair, guys. Can't wait. You know, guys, you don't realize the Big Butler Fair is volunteers, people like Clint putting the time in to create that experience in the biggest in Western Pennsylvania, right here in Butler County.
Absolutely. And for everybody listening out there, remember that when we talk about things like Pennsylvania skill games, it's not just a debate happening under the Capitol Dome in Harrisburg. It's real world. It's affecting Main Street America every single day. Every town in our Commonwealth is affected. Pennsylvania skill games, they bring thousands of dollars of support into key needed community efforts like food banks, especially like our Camp Out for Community, for instance. You know, Salvation Army food pantries were able to put $10,000. They matched $10,000, creates $20,000 in extra food that they're able to provide for people around the holiday season, around the most needed time of the year. And they affect the fraternal organizations and small businesses like ours. They help keep the lights on. They help supplemental income, allow them to have labor, allow them to pay overtime, allow them to pay their people more money, and allow Main Street America to keep up with, you know, the hustle and bustle of all the things outside of Main Street. So if you're driving through a small town in Pennsylvania and you like the way it looks, Pennsylvania Skill Games, hey, you know, let's support these guys.
To find more information, guys, out at paskillalliance.org. And guys, we're super excited. I hope you enjoyed the stories of everything from the Punta Cana death cocktail to Ryan's story to talking about Kit Kats to going back to the reduction wagon. We really appreciate you guys liking, sharing, following, subscribing, and being a part of the action.
We'll catch you guys in the next episode, episode 31. We made it, baby. We can't do what we do without you. Thanks for all the support.
Come and see us.
How about that? Now I understand why she had it there. Like I was sincerely curious of why she had Kit Kat there and why she wasn't eating it.